Hi, my name's Tony. I am the co-founder of the Home Improvement Project. You're probably watching this because your walls aren't exactly how you want them to be. What I'm going to do over the next couple of minutes is explain the problems that people have with their cement render walls and the solutions that are available to you. Now, cement render is just a mixture of cement and sand that people put on the outside of the wall to protect the brickwork. What they then do is they protect that render by either putting stones on in the form of pebble dash, they put masonry paint on, or they coat it with a wall coating itself, making it weatherproof, therefore stopping any damp coming into the property itself. The problem you do find is over time, the small stones in the pebble dash will fall off the walls, the masonry paint will go flaky, and the coating will go powdery, exposing the actual cement render itself. Now, cement render in its very nature is porous, and that will absorb moisture into the cement render itself, which is fine because being porous, the wind and the sun will evaporate that and that damp will leave the property. But over prolonged periods of time, what will happen, that moisture will stay in the property, it can freeze in the winter, expand, and it can cause cracks to appear in your render itself. Now, you normally see those cracks in between the top window and the bottom window of the property, on the narrowest point or the weakest points, on dormer windows, down the side of doors and windows, underneath windows as well. But if you took off all the stones and took off all the masonry paint or coating that's on your property, you'll probably find a lot more that you first think is there. Now, a crack in its very nature is a hole in your wall, and what that will do, that the wind-driven rain, the weather, the damp will enter that and spread out across the render itself. Eventually, what will happen is you'll get almost like a blister effect on the render itself, where it comes away from the wall and the integrity and the strength of that render is gone. There's only one way for that damp to go, it's into the brickwork itself. You may have a cavity wall that stops that bridging of the damp across. You may have a poor quality insulation that allows that to go across, or you may have a solid wall in which you can end up with mould inside the property. So by ignoring these issues, not only is it aesthetic, it can turn into a structural problem, and it may turn into very expensive repairs later down the line. Now, what are the options open to you? There are a couple of options that you can do to solve this issue depending on your budget. The first one is very simple. You yourself can get a filler and you can fill in the cracks and then paint over your walls with a masonry paint or an inferior wall coating. And when you first do it, you look at it and you think, that looks fine, that does look really nice, and I've sorted the problem. You will have to do that again every 4 or 5 years. So it is an ongoing maintenance issue, and eventually it will turn out to be a very, very costly issue. And eventually you cannot also fill in cracks that you've already filled in. So you're just prolonging the inevitable really by doing it that way. The other way is a solution that you only ever need to do once, and it's what we do here at the Home Improvement Project. Now, what we do is a 5-stage process on your walls. The first stage, our installer, who's employed by us, he's not subcontracted, he has over 20 years experience in the industry. He'll turn up and give a visual inspection of your walls to see if there's any issues that he can visually see, of course. What he will also do, he'll do a ground level risk assessment and a health and safety report, and he'll put sheeting around the property. Stage 1 is we will have to clean the walls. Now, we will either use a power wash or we use a gentle soft wash. He will make that decision because it depends on what's there, how old it is, it depends on the in situ with your neighbours, etc., etc. But we'll cover everything that needs to be covered. Now, that will remove all the algae, the moss, the mould that's growing on this render because of the damp. It will also remove any loose stones from the pebble dashing, or any flaky paint from the actual masonry paint, or it will remove the actual powder from the wall coating. But what it will also do, it'll expose other problems with your walls. For instance, a small crack might turn into a larger crack. There may be cracks there that you didn't realise there, and some areas the actual render itself may come away from the walls. Your downpipe may have been leaking for years that you didn't realise, and because it's a corner, it's naturally strong, so it won't blow away. But if you put a wash on that, that will expose those problems. And it's designed to do that because we need to repair those. That stage takes as long as it takes. It depends on the size of your walls. But once we're finished, we'll clear it all up and we take all the mess away. We don't leave it at your property. Stage 2 is we mask up. We cover all your windows, lower roofs, downpipes, fascia soffit and guttering, doors, everything that we don't want to get covered in a coating, we will cover up. This also includes prize roses or some plants on the front of the property. Some people may have ponds or patios that they don't want to get anything on. So we completely mask up, and it takes as long as it takes, as I mentioned before. Stage 3 is the repair. Now, we strongly believe that if you get the base right on any product, everything else goes smoothly. No matter what coating you put on the wall, if you haven't repaired the walls properly, unfortunately, you're just wasting your time and wasting your money. So we will do full repairs on your walls. This includes, this is unlimited, this includes filling in all the cracks that there are, but also re-rendering where needed. If you have pebble dash and the stones that come away, we re-stone those parts because they are a feature. It has to match up, and they're obviously a defense mechanism against any damp entering the walls itself. As I said before, it's unlimited repairs. The 4th stage is what we will do is we will put a minimum of 1 coat of primer on your walls. We will cut it around the edges and use an airless spray gun, and we'll put a primer all around the walls. Minimum 1 coat, because on pebble dashing it does draw that primer in, and the stones remain unprimed, as they say. So we may have to put 2 coats, but the coating that we apply must bond to something. And the final stage is application of the wall coating itself. So we've done 4 stages in the base work. 80% of the work is in the preparation work, and then the final stage is we apply a coating. Now, our coating is a British product. It's made in Great Britain. How it differs from masonry paints and inferior wall coatings is this: it is 20 times thicker than masonry paints when applied. That means it would take up to 20 times longer for it to erode away, for the weather to get to it. That's why it's a 1 application. It stands a test of time, and it stands the great British weather. It is 100% waterproof and 100% weatherproof. So no matter what Mother Nature throws at it, it will be able to cope with that. Walls have to be able to breathe though. You can't seal off the walls because you get a condensation build-up. So this product itself is breathable as well. Like a Gore-Tex raincoat, it keeps the water out, but it allows the walls to breathe. It's also UV stable. Now this is important because you can have it in a wide range of colours to suit your windows or just to suit your personal preference. But the north facing wall and the south facing wall gets different amounts of UV light. You don't want the south facing fading while the north face remains looking fresh. So by being UV stable, the whole property remains the same colour. It is also flexible. Now, not that your walls need to be flexible, but the corners do. If there's any movement in those walls on one side, not the other side, you'll get a crack. By having a crack in the wall coating, you may as well do the whole process again because that allows a damping. By being completely flexible, it doesn't allow that to happen. So it doesn't crack, it doesn't stretch, and it doesn't fold. It is a textured coating. It comes in different sizes of texture, and it's textured for 2 reasons. The first reason, it adds strength to the product itself, so it stands the test of time. The second reason is if you put a smooth coating or a smooth paint on your walls, every blemish, every repair will show up from underneath. By having a textured coating, it will hide all that and give it an even colour all the way around the property. And what it means is in 20 years time you look at your walls and it looks exactly the same as when it was first done. That's what we do at the Home Improvement Project, and if you are interested or want further information, please don't hesitate to contact us on our Contact Us page, or you can call us as well. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.